Hi everyone, for today I'll walk you through lesson 66, part 6 to 10. So let's start off with part 6. We're looking at ratios. So we need to write the names and the fractions for each sentence. So let's do the first one together. There are 7 riders for every 11 horses. So we need to include the names. So we have our first term, riders. And then since it says for every 11 horses, we know horses is our bottom term. So there are our names, and now we have to write our fraction. So let's look at how many riders were there in our sentence. We know there are 7. There's our top number. And then how many horses were in our sentence? 11. So we have our ratio and we have our fraction. So now you can pause this video and work on B and C, and then come back for part 7 when you're ready. So for part 7, we're working on 3 equations. Ms. Russ and I want you to try these ones on your own. There's an addition, subtraction, and a double-digit multiplication. Oops. So just remember, we're just going to multiply one bottom digit at a time. First, you'll multiply your 3, and then you'll multiply your 9. But make sure once you start to multiply your 9, you're going to write a 0 on your second line here to show that it's in the tens column, and it is 9D. So just remember your steps and then come back for part 8 once you're ready. So for part 8, we're making number families and solving the problem. So let's do A together. Let's see here. And remember, we're gonna make sure we're looking out for our keywords like less, fewer, all, or more to look at whether it's an all question or a difference question. So A says, a truck traveled 560 fewer miles than a boat traveled. The boat traveled 990 miles. How many miles did the truck travel? So right away we can spot one of our keywords, fewer. So the number right before a keyword is our difference number. So that will be our first number here, which is 560. And now it says that the truck traveled fewer miles than the boat. So the boat will be our big number here, since it traveled the furthest distance. And then our question is, how many miles did the truck travel? So truck will be our second small number, which is missing. So our boat traveled 990. So now when we have a big number and a small number, in order to find our second small number, we need to subtract. So let's do that over here. We have 990 minus 560. So you have 0 minus 0, 9 minus 6 is 3, and 9 minus 5 equals 4. So the truck traveled 430 miles. You can make sure we're including our measurements. So include 430 here, miles. So there is solving for our first number family. So you can pause here and work on B on your own and come back for 9 when you're ready. So part 9, we're solving for area for each rectangle. Now just remember, we're looking at our units of measurement and including them in each step. So make sure you're noticing whether it's yards, miles, or feet. So let's do our first one together. I'll just draw it here and then we can solve. So we have 18 yards by 7 yards. So here is our rectangle for A. So remember, we need to write down our formula, length times width, and then we'll plug that in. So we have our length is 18 yards. Times 7 yards is our width. So let's solve this on the bottom. So we have 18 times 7. 8 times 7 equals 56. I'll drop the 6 and carry the 5. And then we have 1 times 7, which will give us 7 plus the 5, which will give us 12. So our answer is 126. So let's plug this back into our original formula. So we have 126 square yards. Remember to always include your square to recognize that you've solved for the area of the rectangle. So you can pause this and work on B and C of part 9 and come back for part 10. For part 10, we're solving some division. So we're first putting a fraction into a division problem, and then we will solve. So let's do A. Let's set this up here. We have 505 over 5. So remember, our top number will always go underneath our division line, since it's the number that is being divided. And our bottom number will always go at the side here, since it's the number that is dividing by 5. So it's 505 divided by 5. So let's start dividing number by number going into our main number. So look at how many times can 5 go into 5? 1. And how many times can 5 go into 0? 0. So we'll put that on top. And how many times can 5 go into 5? 1 again. So our answer is 101. So now you can work on B and C of part D, and then we are all finished for today. So keep up the awesome job and let myself or Miss Ress know if you need any help. Thanks. Bye.